Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media, and I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine, but the carnal mind is foolish. Obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second dish to me, just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out. I am not the way, no way. I have seen the way. Speak, repeat, there's no way.
Hey yo, what is good, everybody? What is good, yo? Hey man, I hope you guys are having a great year. Summer is coming near to its end pretty soon, here in about a month or two. Pretty much like a month, right? A month and a half. Like it's not 2 months, so a month and a half. Man, make the most of it. It's still hot out there. It almost reached 100 degrees. Man, I've been having a blast. Like I'll be honest. Everything in life is smooth, and sometimes it's mighty surprising when you open your eyes up to new lifestyles and new things in life. So like it can really help you shift into a newer dimension, newer state, find new peace, new energy, new blessings for sure. It's a great thing to be alive for sure and have the enlightenment. I like to think that like this whole technology evolution, what we're doing with let's just say advancing our biology and advancing our understanding of how to help the world through technologies of robots and symbiotic natures, and like I know it's like a brand new thing what we're experiencing worldwide, but hey, it's here to help us. A lot of these technologies and medicines, that's why we're kind of seeing hope. There's a lot of hope out there. Don't be drowned in by all the fear, like oh man, I hate the fear mongering. I think that there's a lot of blessings out there. Like gyms are opening up everywhere, health classes, fitness, yogas and Zumbas and all those cool things, they're everywhere now. And it's not just that, the supplements are everywhere. You see like all sorts of people pushing supplements. You see the gyms now having them. You see individual people creating them, companies merging with like anime, with sports teams, with all sorts of different branches because of technology. People are able to use their phone and be like, yo, hey man, I got this supplement. You want to be a part of it? And that's how like I think we can help ourselves just by interacting with that side of technology instead of looking for like, oh, what's the latest gossip on Bad Baby or whoever, right? And all sorts of different things, Kim Kardashian or Madonna, whoever you like. Get out there in the fitness world, the health world, and see what's happening, especially with the red light therapy, with the cryogenic chambers, to like what freeze your body for like 60 seconds, 30 seconds, and it helps big time. And then, the saunas, all sorts of different things are popping up and spawning that are helping us and helping our body. It's just, natural methods pretty much. Like these things we're not having to get surgeries. So, and we're not having to take implants and, that type of stuff. So we can do it safely, help our bodies safely. And like what's wild is what I've been seeing online and also hearing from interviewers and people all across sports, TV, everywhere, pretty much talking about stem cells, right? I know stem cells are a touchy subject because of what they might contain and maybe the methods to you know use them and all sorts of different things, right? Like from what I hear though, stem cells are healing people, healing ligaments, healing bodies, and repairing, all the damage that we've taken. Like let's just say you play sports, or let's say you got in a bad accident, or your body is beat down. You can go to Mexico right now, or you can go to certain places. I know San Diego, right across the border, there's a place. There's all sorts of different places. Like seriously, they're openly available, and um, I think it is around the world too, where a lot of these technologies are being pushed. And I mean, those from the first moment I heard like big time organizations and things talking about it was Aaron Rodgers when he went over to Germany to get them stem cells, and then he played, he played a season with the Jets. Um, that first game on the first season was crazy. That was complete bad luck. Anyways, all sorts of different things are popping up in the health and fitness world. Um, I love it. I love it. Hey, I also got a lot of links down below. If you look on YouTube, or if you see this tomorrow on Spotify or wherever you're watching, there's down below. You can check out C60 over at Shop C60, the world's best antioxidant, a Nobel Prize winning supplement. It's made from natural ingredients. It's helped me pretty much fly through the gym, fly through life, have no lag on energy, and help me keep stabilized and like fresh, just calm and collected, and also like my body's always balanced because of this. It's also helped me heal. It's literally a world class supplement over at shopc60.com. Use coupon code 509 Divine Pines, and I'll be honest, I vouch for that. If you take it and you don't like it, you can come, I don't know, write me a bad review on my podcast specifically that that product that I recommended didn't work. But hey, you know what? It will work, and you ain't gonna write that review because I know it'll work. It works for everybody. It's it's been here since the 80s, and it's not gonna go away. Like this supplement is here to stay. I mean, 50 years in the game, you can't even knock it. That's an OG supplement, and it won a world-class Nobel Prize winning award. Go check it out. Say less. They got supplements for your dogs, your cats, your animals. I know people who are horse riders. I hear from interviewers, and they give this to their horses. And oh man, like their horses are dynamic and electric and healthy, and helps keep their legs healthy. Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's also a lot more down below. We'll go ahead and touch on those after the information that I'm about to relate. Hey, we're about to get to it. Yo, Chad Smith. Yo, man. First time hearing about stem cells was Rogan saying he got his neck and knee. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll be honest. That's a big proponent of where I've learned because of the guests he had on and they talking about it. And so it's cool, that everyone is talking about it, literally. Hey guys, if you guys could like, subscribe, and share, tell everybody around that this is going down. Let's get to this. And if you guys could donate, the $1 if you like this, even once, if you laugh once, if you smile once at this, donate $1 over at 509 Divine Pines, Cash App, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. And if you want to buy me a coffee in person, man, I like good coffee. No crappy coffee. All right. Let's get it. So what we got going on today, man, past and future warfare. So there's all sorts of greatness that our world has been through, right? Battles lost and won, and revolutions and tides turning and systems being thrown over. Hey man, all sorts of history. It just, that's what it is. History is just war, and we're fighting, and we don't know what we're fighting for anymore. We're just fighting because, like, our side says that we're better than your side, and your side says that they're better than his side, and that's what it's been like for a million years or something, right? But here, we're going to go ahead and break it down today. So, this is from Exploding Topics, written in June 13, 2024, and it's discussing the 7 top military trends in technology for 2024 2025, which is this year. So, last year's budget was around 145 billion for research and development. Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, says we understand the need to sharpen our readiness in advanced technology, cyberspace, and artificial intelligence. While carefully watching the war in Ukraine and escalating tensions elsewhere, the military is increasingly focusing on technology solutions that could provide the United States with an edge in the conflict. So, number one is focus on counter drone technology. As we know, as we've seen over the last few years, drones have played a huge role in war, dropping bombs and finding people and shooting people and causing distractions and setting things on fire and who knows what, and delivering the brownies and joints and Bibles and everything, bottles, everything, right? uh, right here, look at Ukraine war briefing. Zelensky's army of drone gets its own commander. Ukrainians claims hit on air defenses in occupied Crimea, and they're commanding a drone force. So this drone force has its own commander. This guy's like, you get a drone and you get a drone, and boom, they're acting like Obama the Bomber. So this guy took over his job, right? This is a new guy. And right here it says real-time logistics. Drones can provide live video feeds anywhere in the battlefield without the need of satellite imagery. Unlike artillery, drones can target specific areas, vehicles, and soldiers. It can penetrate walls now. Drones can be used to suppress missile and air attacks. And remember, I wish I had the video pulled up, but it was, I think, last year, one of the military leaders, the big military guy, right? He's talking about one of the new drones and how it's like super small. It's like the size of a hand, right? And he's showing the ability of it. And these micro drones can fly at like 80 miles, 100 miles per hour, 200 miles per hour, and penetrate a target, a body, a wall, whatever, and then explode. So, like, it has a detonator charge in it, right? So, like, yeah, it showed a very lethal possibility of these, not just these drones having weapons on them, but now these drones can be like used for extremely violent warfare tactics, like pretty much becoming a eagle or a hawk, like folding itself into a spear point. That's what the drone was doing at 180 to 100 miles per hour, and then it's able to pierce and then explode. So if it hit a human, it would kill him. If it hit a human, it would, in the head or above or in heart or chest, it would kill him. I mean, in the arm or leg, that's depending on the person's level of shock and pain resistance and just maybe where the drone. I don't know. Maybe that's just severe damage. I don't even want to think about it, man. But that is one of the things now. So there's all sorts of new drones, and we've seen the whole situation in New Jersey where the drones were all over the skies, and people didn't know what's up. They're all over the East Coast. But if you understood a little bit about FAA, that many drones and that size of drones wouldn't be allowed unless they knew, it wouldn't be allowed if they did, if it was illegal. So the FAA knew about it, and they allowed those. It was a secret military, little test. It was just a surveillance type of test, I bet, or a drone type of test, where to see if that these drones can operate safely, and and do its job. Maybe, like, who knows what those drones were used for over there in the East Coast, but um, from what I hear, they had FAA regulated lights, so like what the certain colored lights, and yeah, they were at a certain threshold. They weren't. It seemed like there was very military ran. Right here, a $2 million missile versus a $2,000 drone. The Pentagon worried over the cost of Houthi attacks. So these drones are pretty dangerous. You know, they're able to um, effectively damage places, people, technology, vehicles, if used by the right person or a person who's skilled in that position, I should say. So it's causing nations to build counter drone technologies. So, like, over the last 8 years, we've seen people with like house drones, right? And pretty much the technology was, you want it down, you can shoot it, shoot it with a gun, or shoot it with a net, or yeah, if you have like a something greater, it's kind of rare. But now, it's understanding that on the flip side, over the last few years specifically, it's causing the military to be like, all right, now we need to build counter drone technology. I guess it wasn't a problem, years back, like 8 years ago, and the government didn't really think about that. They didn't really care. They didn't really understand that the drones were a problem, but they have became a problem, I guess, right? Number two, increased spending on robotics. The market for military robots is expected to reach nearly 25 billion by this year. Man, that's crazy. The U.S. Army has dramatically increased its budget for robotics in 6 years, going from 17 million in 2015 to 380 million in 2021. Oh my God! Yeah, that's huge. That's like that's unfathomable amount of gain. So pretty much they're focusing all of our nation on robotics, which is what you see with Elon Musk and these e-cars and the e-appliances, the robotic appliances, the new robots that are going to be coming out. All sorts of everything is robotic. People don't even realize. They're just like, I love it. Me too. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. But like, shit, at some point we gotta be like, man, where's the stop? Because look, I mean, right here, what's next, and what is in current day is these robotic dogs and robotic animals, and we know that they have robotic birds, robotic flies for a minute. Yeah, these robots can climb stairs, be submerged in water for nearly 5 feet, pick themselves up over if they fall. These robots can now create other robots. So I just read an article. I'll have this article later this week. It's in my Discord, but I'll post an episode about this article later this week. But this team of researchers gave a robot artificial intelligence and then the ability and command to create its own robot and AI from scratch. So yeah, it did the craziest. I don't know why those scientists did it, but yeah, I mean that's how these elitists think, right? These power hungry, top of the level, top of the food chain type people, right? So what this robot did was it created its own robot and its own algorithm or whatever. I'm not even sure. I haven't seen an update on like if it like went Ori, but I don't think it did. I think I think it's just like a service robot or something. So a service robot is telling another, it's creating another service robot. And it's not like weapons grade, I'm guessing. Pretty interesting. Ghost Robotics, the manufacturer of the robotic dogs, showcased their autonomous robots first in 2021. So, geez, we're already 4 years down the road. Austria wants ethical rules on battlefield killer robots. So, the International leagues and international coalitions are actually coming together. I've seen over the last year or two, they've been posting articles how there needs to be an ethical code or a system of law for these robots and warfare soon, or else it's going to get out of hand, and these things are going to like completely be overpowered. Number 3, major advances in hypersonic systems. Hypersonics describe an object moving at a speed 5 times more or at the speed of sound. Or no, that's 5 times or more the speed of sound. Sorry, I read that wrong. Basic hypersonic technology has been around for decades, but advanced hypersonic technology is now being launched and tested. The most notable feature of this new technology is that these missiles can fly at low altitudes and maneuver in the air, so making them nearly impossible to track with current missile air defense systems. Russia, China, and the United States have been racing to build their own hypersonic weapon system. The first hypersonic system to be used in combat was launched into Ukraine by Russia in March 2022. The Pentagon has dedicated $3.8 billion to the hypersonic research in 2022 and is requesting $4.7 billion this year. The U.S. has several hypersonic weapons in the developmental phase and launched a successful test missile in March 22. In addition, the Missile Defense Agency has a budget of $250 million for hypersonic defense. Private U.S. companies are also racing to develop hypersonic technology. One startup, Hermeus, is developing a remotely piloted aircraft that can travel at hypersonic speed. So here is a picture of the Hermeus aircraft, the quarter horse, and its top speed will be Mach 5. So they're probably going to make greater ones that can go Mach 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The next year, the military invested again a $60 million joint contract. This contract has 5 key objectives. One is which to provide wargaming inputs for use in Air Force strategic analysis tools. And they awarded Hermeus $1.5 million contract. To date, the company has raised $176 million to date. So they've had a help of $60 million from the government and then another 110 from investments. Next up, the growing threat of cyber warfare. Military personnel classify cyber warfare in a category called the gray zone. It's not really conventional and it's not routine. There's an abundance of ambiguity and deniability, which prevents a lot of confusion and anonymity. Pretty much like, let's just say, cyber attacks, system grid attacks, different things like that, database breaches and leaks and all sorts of different things like that. People stealing people's identities or wiping someone's complete history or whatever. We know that's big, and we know that hackers are everywhere. And that one movie, man, just recently came out with Obama that talks about like a cyber warfare attack too. Man, Leave the World Behind. Yeah. So pretty much that's kind of the details of what they're scared of. That movie is what they're scared of, is what the military is scared of when they're putting money into cyber warfare defense systems and learning how to combat hackers or shadow agencies and shadow governments and terrorist organizations that are trying to destroy our infrastructure from the internet, right? Or systems alike. So there's a couple of cyber command components, and it's right here, made up of 6,000 military personnel. And so there's one from the Marine Corps, which is Marine Corps Cyberspace Command. There's Air Force Cyberspace Command, U.S. Fleet Cyberspace Command, U.S. Army Cyber Command. So the U.S. Army is in Fort Gordon, Georgia. The U.S. Fleet is in Fort Meade, Maryland. The Air Forces is in San Antonio, Texas. The Marine Corps is in Fort Meade, Maryland. So there's two over in Maryland. Interesting. Next up, 3D printing offers new opportunities for new materials and manufacturers. So 3D printing is going to be used to build everything. Pretty much everything. Yeah. And 3D printing is pretty much self-explanatory. They're using new methods to create new vehicles, new weapons, new defense systems. I don't know. Who knows what they're building with that type of 3D printing stuff. Number 6, directed energy weapons emerge from the testing phase. So 150 kilowatt U.S. Navy laser successfully shoots down drone in test. This was back in May 23rd, 2020. And this isn't the only article. I have created some podcast episodes talking about these weapon laser systems. So they've been created since the 2000s. And now, in let's just say 5 years ago, 2020, they were successfully built at extreme level. So now 5 years later, we're seeing that these probably are already like perfected and ready to be mass rolled out, if in case they ever needed to be. But for the moment, what they are being used for is something like this: the Helios solution, which is a Navy carrier with one of these lasers, and you see the laser shooting out. That's a real laser. This is a real picture. And so it's labeled high energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance, a 60 kilowatt high energy laser for counter fast inshore attack and counterattacks, long range intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, counter UAS mounted ISR dazzler, upgraded flexibility, increased high energy laser power levels, additional combat system integration, and equipment commonality. Oh my god. So this ship's decked out, and the laser's the big part. It's like this. You don't want to mess with this ship at all. You don't want to mess with this ship. And so we're just seeing the trends of what we're going to be dealing with, I guess, right? In warfare or on our own homeland, right? Number 7, renewed focus on electronic warfare and communication jammers. One main military communication jammer, first deployed in 2004, the Counter Communication Systems. It's a transportable electronic warfare system that operates via space. The latest CCS update, Block 10.2, became operational March 2020, but there's another update in the works. The U.S. Space Force has partnered with L3 Harris Technologies in a $120.7 million contract to update CCS through 2025. Harris officials say these updates will double the capability of the current system, as well as enhance missions, significantly reduce size and power needs, and increase automation. So pretty much I bet that they're going to be able to like flash shut off systems on the spot, like completely shut down power to cars and phones, computers, houses, buildings, ships, aircraft, if they build a big enough blocker, right? Next up, right here, what we're going to go through is alleged secret weapons of the military. We talk about this a lot right here. So direct energy weapons, that's one of them. Direct energy weapons is definitely a real thing. So next would be long range acoustic devices. So I have also talked about this on an episode. This was one of the first technologies created, like let's say in the 90s, used for it's like Operation Bluebeam, right? Like they're trying to create objects that they first had an audible audible device. So pretty much they were sending out sounds through a satellite, and I don't know, they were able to penetrate people's brains. It seemed like it all started in the Vietnam War, actually. Um, the government started using radio waves to mess with the Vietnam soldiers. So what they were doing is that they were placing speakers and tapping into their radio bands and radio channels, and they were doing spooky sounds and like saying that they were the dead, and like tricking them, saying that they were their ancestors and the gods and the demons and all sorts of different things. And the Vietnam soldiers didn't know what the heck they were going on, so it was causing psychosis and causing causing them to go insane, thinking that like their ancestors were haunting them on the radio and stuff. And when they were on the patrols, the speakers that were playing same things, it was making the people on patrols think that they were going crazy because they were hearing their spooky noise thing of like they're mimicking their dead ancestors or gods or demons or something, right? It varied, I guess, on person to person or instance to instance, exactly what sounds they made. But the military started thinking like, hey, like, why not do this more? And so then they started researching it, and eventually they came out and they started using these bands and frequencies. So like they shot frequencies into a certain area, and it started to produce sounds, and then it started to produce images because they were manipulating the bands and the colors and the speed and the angles. And then they started realizing if they change the power levels on some of these things, they can create mini like explosions and shapes. And so what we're seeing in general with these satellites everywhere, 5G towers everywhere, all, man, it's creating like a system of people people getting damaged through illusions, which is probably why when we um see the people, like, this is kind of real, when we see these people who are homeless or on drugs like hardcore in these big cities, and then they're like zoning off, and they're like, they feel like they're talking to another entity, or they feel like they're seeing some type of light or laser, they're seeing something, they're hearing something. And it's not just like them tripping out, it's like they when people are on all sorts of different drugs, they can hear frequencies, see colors, tap into the different vibrations, right? And it can be manipulated against us. Like, the system can be manipulated against us, and it can cause those type of paranoias, light shows or different things like that. Sometimes, right? Not saying every instance it's these systems, but it could cause, or it could cause damage. These systems can cause damage, like let's just say Paradise Falls in California, where witnesses saw lasers. They saw a craft in the air. They saw lasers come out of the craft, and then boom, 2 seconds later, the whole city of Paradise Falls was on fire, which surprisingly had like high level technology workers. Like the people who lived in Paradise Falls, these guys were like super smart with technology. These guys were building their own systems, and they worked for big companies. So these guys were intelligent. Supposedly, there's a reason for the intelligence. A very, very, there were a very select group of people. And so these lasers can destroy things like that. They can, when we think about, it's kind of funny when we think about certain sports games. Like, I mean it, when we see something that's like, that's just strange. Like, the ball wasn't supposed to go that way, or like, it just seems weird, right? And It's, some people say there's magnets. Some people think that there's, radio waves, and because you can push people with wave. Like if the technology is right, you can move things with a radio wave, or frequency, or light, or a laser, right? um Man, it's being used everywhere. It's definitely being used everywhere in all sorts of different ways and manners. Just like, I mean, another thing like Wi-Fi, or how our Wi-Fi routers are sending out frequencies and rays and tracking our movement based on how long it takes those frequencies or rays or waves to get back to the receiver. So the satellite pushes out the wave, and it goes back to the receiver, and it's creating a digital map. And every second, it's seeing where there's uh, time slip, or time delays in the area, or if it's like you know it's pretty much creating a map on where people are because of how it's reading the waves. And so that's another way. Or you know I mean, it can be used for good, just like facial recognition. But hey, it's a government. You're using a lot of long range acoustic devices, short range acoustic devices, low frequency acoustic devices. So another one is low frequency microwave mind control. So tapping into not just the frequency, high frequencies, but now electromagnetic low frequencies. So the subtronic frequencies in the brain, where they're creating also these manipulative sound, or even just patterns, or electrical signals that are beta, delta, gamma, alpha waves. And these things can tap into the body, and or the mind, and affect it, which is where some people say they get extreme migraines when they walk into a certain building, or they walk into a certain area. And it's what they labeled it was the Havana syndrome. But like, people understand it like, well, what if we're just not in the right health state to be comfortable around these electromagnetic frequency waves that these satellites and everything are pushing out. So people can get headaches, right? They can start hearing noises like beeping, or like screeching, or like white noise in their head. And then it gets louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, and then people start going insane, or different things like that, right? So these electromagnetic low frequencies are the ones tapping into the brain, right? The higher frequencies, the higher uh, I guess the larger frequencies of the visible light rays and different things like that would probably damage the skin if they know how to harness it. Like, it can burn a hole in your skin, or things like that. But then these electromagnetic frequency satellites, things can attack your brain, inside your brain. So they can attack two ways, not just that, but also three ways. So here it is. The heart attack gun. In the wake of the Watergate scandal in the early 1970s, Democratic Senator Frank Church led a committee dedicated to going to the bottom of any actions perpetrated by the CIA that violated the charter of this secretive intelligence agency. Yeah, right here. Though history shows us that the attempts of the church community to curb the totalitarian zeal of the CIA were all but ineffective in the long run, a few interesting findings were uncovered during the 1975 investigation. One such discovery was the so-called heart attack gun, a modified pistol that was capable of delivering a nearly undetectable but absolutely lethal dose of shellfish toxin into the body. And from it's horrible. The darts fired by this soundless gun would theoretically leave a pinprick no larger than a mosquito bite and dissolve almost instantly into the tissues of the body after delivering a payload so poisonous that the target would almost be guaranteed to have a heart attack. Crazy. Man, they wouldn't even be able to really tell. It would look like a mosquito bite. Now, that wouldn't even be easy to find on everybody. Wow. So next technology, hydrodynamic explosive munitions. Yes. So DARPA has developed a specialized projectile, and it's called the Magneto Hydrodynamic Explosive Munition. It will direct a sustained jet of molten metal at an armored target. Oh my god! And it closely resembles a fictional weapon featured in Earthlight. I'll have to check that out. Beyond these details, not so much is known about this military project. However, China's Nanjing University of Science and Technology has apparently reverse engineered Mahum for its own purposes. I bet from all the ex DARPA engineers and government engineers that they bought out, man, they spent millions like it was a fucking NBA draft. They're like, we want this guy first round pick. You come here, we give you 150 million bucks. And people are getting paid like that because you hear these Sam Altmans and you hear these AI engineers. America's paying them like that. You don't think that these other big countries are paying the top level people and the people who know the top level technologies crazy money? Of course they are. Next up, biological warfare. So biological warfare has been happening ever since the 40s and 50s. But we could see that with things like 21andMe and those gene systems pretty much like helping these government agencies, religious agencies, and things like that keep track on all the world's DNA. It's becoming easier for biological poisons and viruses and things like that to be targeted towards certain groups and certain races and to biologically mess us up, right? And not just that, but the plants too, where we see, people like Bill Gates who are like, I want to modify all the plants, and if my seed gets on your field, I own your field now because I am rich and I command. And if these vegetables and fruits start killing people, I wouldn't be surprised, man. This dude is creating some crazy genetically modified lineages of veggies and fruits right now. Next up, occultic subliminal messaging is becoming a huge warfare tactic where we're seeing the rap game and the hip hop game and movies and all sorts of different things, music videos, and it's becoming very trippy military level dark, Michael Aquino level satanic dark. And if you don't know who that is, you guys should know, or if you don't, go research. Like, for real. Like, you should know now. So that dude, monster. He's a monster. Michael Keaton was a satanic military monster. And they caused a lot of MK Ultra and craziness, right? So that's psychological warfare and things like that. Subliminal warfare and, abusive stuff. Next up, flying aircraft carriers. So I've been seeing there's like bigger jets and aircrafts coming out. So like there's a huge push for getting things in the sky, and some of these ships are going to be grand level. I just don't know why we don't bring blimps back again. Like, if we can bring blimps back in 2025, 2026, and we can create sustainability in the sky. But we have all these planes. Supposedly it's giving pollution. I don't know. Who knows? Next up, Project Thor. So Rod of the God. It's a mother of all bombs, which is a kinetic energy perpetrator that would theoretically consist of a pair of satellites. One serves as a targeting hub. The other is equipped with a 6-meter long tungsten rod that would be dropped on a target from orbit, capable of penetrating hundreds of feet into the crust. These thunderbolts from Thor produce damage equivalent to a nuclear blast without the fallout. Wow. Though the cost of delivering such rods into orbit is seen as prohibitive, reopening the Project Thor initiative would seriously consider the it was seriously considered as recently as the George Bush administration, with 21 trillion supposedly appropriated without authorization and a few other agencies from the and Department of Defense. It's hard to know what potentially cost prohibitive theoretical projects like the United States government might be silently making. And one of the biggest military technologies is HARP in Alaska. So all these satellites right here are creating electromagnetic warfare, and they're pushing down to the sky, into the clouds, into the ionosphere, into the stratosphere, into the Earth sphere, everything, all of that, whatever. All the different layers of our ozone, yeah, like this is manipulating. Like, it can change the cloud levels, it can start rain, it can start thunder, it can do a lot. So pretty much this is where a lot of the weather modification starts. And they say they do it to combat storms, but it seems like ever since these things started been active more, I think there's more storms. So now we're about to get into some military technologies further. I guess old ones maybe. Some of the most game-changing technologies was the chariot. I I don't think that there's much to say about it except that for sure, like you can imagine, once the chariot started coming along, man, it ran through people. It would shield people and give people a firm ground to stand on instead of riding on the back of a horse. This was a little bit more protective, and they had a little bit more control. They could get off easier, but also the horses could run people over way easier. Next up, gunpowder. Yeah, gunpowder definitely changed the way that we started going to war. It used to be swords, axes, maces, hand to hand combat. Maybe some bow and arrow, darts, and then the gunpowder comes along, and you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, dog. That's just the way it is. Number 8, rifled gun barrels, which is interesting because guns before grooved barrels had smooth barrels, which sent bullets flying in all directions. You couldn't hit the enemy unless you were close. Back then, soldiers stood almost face to face and shot one another. Rifled guns, created in 1800, had grooved barrels. These guns spun the bullet so that they traveled straight for hundreds of yards, vastly improving long-distance accuracy. Wow. Standing up during combat became very dangerous. During the Battle of Gettysburg, Major General George Pickett followed orders to march his soldiers upright across an open field. As soon as Pickett's soldiers were in range, Union soldiers popped up from behind the wall and picked them off at a distance. During World War I, the nightmare worsened as machine guns mowed down soldiers advancing between trenches. Soldiers eventually learned to hug the ground. Rifled barrels changed naval warfare too. Ship guns now had such range and accuracy that ships could fire at each other without ever seeing one another. Oh man. Next up, the internal combustion engine. Oh yeah, the V2, the V4, V6, V8, right? Hell yeah. Man. Pretty much this changed speed. It made us going from horse and buggy and slow 2, 3, 4, 5 miles an hour. But that's speculated that this was the only technology because this is what history and the big time organizations and lawmakers chose. there was other possibilities. There's other engine types that we could build, electric engines, hydrogen engines, all sorts of different things. But hey, man, I guess this is the way the cookie crumbles. Next up, airplanes. Airplanes were quicker, more agile, stealthier than blimps. And so, in the means of military, this could be used for plenty of reconnaissance missions and stealthier tactics, things like that. Also, make faster hits. Um, airstrikes is where airstrikes come in. Next up, radio. You know, having to ride your horse across hills, mountains, valleys, just to get the message across in time, maybe must have sucked. But now, hey, when the invention of the radio came on, you didn't need to do that anymore. You didn't need to send that horse rider. Yeah, they could send a message pretty much like within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, a minute or something. It didn't take long. Instead of days, sometimes it went pretty much down to minutes. Next up, microwave radar, which is pretty much what I was talking about with the whole frequencies and satellites and microwave radar. So pretty much, they started getting a huge boost when we started making these technologies. These things could it's so the microwave radar it's explained like this: a method for spotting the enemy by bouncing radio waves or microwaves off solid objects, which is pretty much what I was talking about with the Wi-Fi router. Next up, nuclear weapons. As we know, the Fat Man and Little Boy took out Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And there's not too much to say about that because I think that's a tragedy, but also I don't want to get into sadness like that. So, spy satellites, yeah, man. Spy satellites are huge now. There's, as I said, there's easily over 10,000 satellites in the sky. I don't know how much exactly now, but that was like information like 2 years ago. So there's probably, I'm guessing, like 15,000 satellites in the sky now. Next would be GPS, which is great. Yeah, I guess it's being used for military bigger than it is being used for civilians. Definitely civilians, because civilians don't know how to drive. That's me. I'm civilians. I don't know how to drive. Without GPS, shit. Good luck. I'm playing. Next up, though, let's go. So now these are 10 technologies that actually exist. Developed by the U.S. Department of Defense, the Personal Halting and Stimulation Response Rifle is a non-lethal weapon designed to disorientate and stun enemies rather than kill. A light-based gun, the Phaser has been designed for use by both soldiers and U.S. law enforcement officials. The gun temporarily blinds enemies with focused laser beams. The laser light, which operate at alternating wavelengths, serve to disorientate people who look at them, rendering them unable to stand alone, let fight. The good news is that the laser light used in this weapon does not inflict any permanent damage to people's eyesight. Ooh, interesting. Next up, 9. The golf ball grenade. Although not in use any longer, the V40 fragmentation grenade was used by the U.S. military from the 1960s to 1980s and distinguished by its compact size. The grenade was no bigger than a golf ball. In fact, soldiers used to refer it as the mini frag. The grenade measured 2.5 inches high and 1.5 in diameter, yet despite its miniature size, the V40 used a safety pin and lever just like a standard sized grenade, and it packed a deadly punch. The golf ball grenade was considered lethal up to a radius of 5 meters and dangerous up to 300 meters from its point of impact. Whoa! 300 meters? However, this weapon was eventually discontinued because the small size of the weapon made them dangerous for use by soldiers. The short fuse time and tiny pins made the frags difficult to handle and prone to going off without warning. Wow, extremely dangerous. Number 8, the corner shot rifle and grenade launcher. So they created a weapon that enables soldiers to both see and fire around corners called the corner shot. The weapon comes in two versions, a semi-automatic pistol and a grenade launcher. They don't want that on an AR? I bet. A hinge placed in the center of the weapon enables the barrel to pivot to the left or right while the handle and trigger remain fixed and stationary. A camera is affixed to the weapon as well, which allows soldiers to see what they are shooting at around corners. The corner shot has been proven to be popular, that militaries and law enforcement agencies in 15 countries are now using them. Interesting. Next up, the active denial system, which is an invisible electromagnetic radiation emission that's being beamed, which creates burning sensation in people's skin, setting them running. So it's pretty much like a laser and a frequency, a ray, and so it's a heat ray pretty much, and so it'll either make your skin feel like it's burning up, or it will literally burn your skin up, and like yeah, it can be used to help disperse non-lethal crowds. I don't think it's actually burning a hole in your skin. I think it just makes it feel like it because, like, I don't know. I'm not too sure exactly why, but I do have an experience where, like, if you're looking at certain cameras or phones, or the front camera on your phone, and you point it right at you, and look right at these readers, you can feel a warmth of the rays and lasers that are scanning your face, because they do have like heat, I guess. Next up, the digital revolver. The futuristic pistol has a digital safety mechanism that can only be disabled if the operator is also wearing a special wristwatch that sends the unlock signal to the gun. Whoa! This means that this gun can only be fired by the owner, preventing people from using it or stealing it. Which also means that the revolver cannot be used against its owner. Whoa, that's sick. So that's new technology. Next up, the railgun. The U.S. Navy is developing an electromagnetic railgun that can fire a project faster than the speed of sound. Whoa, officially called the 8 megajoule electromagnetic railgun, this shipboard weapon can shoot at Mach 8, which is 8 times faster than the speed of sound, or 5,000 miles per hour. The Navy plans to use it to protect warships and anti-aircraft and anti-missile weaponry. However, so powerful is the ray gun that it has the potential to launch a spaceship into orbit, and the railgun can also fire on an entire battlefield from offshore. The railgun is powered internally by a device called the flux capacitor, which was pretty much named after the Back to the Future movie. It's pretty wild. They have a railgun, man. Oh no. Next up, quantum stealth. So this technology camouflages people by bending light around the object it is hiding. I remember seeing those videos of these Chinese people holding up one of the quantum stealth blankets, and you definitely could not tell that there would be someone behind it. And so, stealth and invisibility is a military technology. They're not going to release it to the public unless, like, a new government system comes in. Next up, tactical assault light operator suit, Talos. So pretty much like Iron Man suit. Like the Halo suit, like the suits that you see on these video games or these movies, they're like, metal suits, mecha suits, probably thin or thick, depending probably the grade of the armor, right? Interesting. The first generation of suit was expected in 2018, and hopefully it's still going on, because I see things similar where now mainstream society can, normal society like us, regular society, we can buy those robotic lifters, or the ligament, the robotic helpers for our back or our legs or our arms, and help us lift like hundreds of pounds more because it's robotically powered. That type of stuff is cool, and it's similar. But the Talos, the tactical assault light armor suit, would be like a robotic exoskeleton that soldiers are used to fight in army or in war, which would increase soldier strength and everything. Speed. Would probably give it like feedback, haptic feedback on its visor with like AI or GPS or whatever. Next, sentient unmanned vehicles, so UAVs and unmanned cars and tanks and aircraft. And last but not least, the vomit gun. So the Department of Homeland Security engaged a company called Intelligent Optical Systems to develop a LED incapacitator that emits a rapid pulse of different color lights to cause dizziness, headaches, and vomiting. Interesting. I wonder if this is why sometimes there's a lot of throw ups at the club when, let's just say, people are getting super drunk and then they're seeing all these strobe lights and seeing all these high frequency sounds, and wow, getting people just dizzy and having headaches and vomiting. I had no idea that the vomit gun was a real thing. That's crazy. All right, we're gonna go forward. Let's see real fast. 1 second, guys. All right, one moment. Well, I'll be right back. I'm gonna head to the restroom real fast. So this is live. We're gonna run a commercial. Do 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 do.
Not new, what I do. I've been at it for a minute, pursuing, doing the damage. New, I would do everything that I said I would do. I gotta have it, so goddamn it, I'ma be everything I plan to be. Glad to see money coming my way, believe I'll achieve anything I put my mind to, or at least I try to. I'm avoiding my doom, manifesting my room. Meditate the ease of flow, third eye open, see the golden energy. It can enter me, get me to feeling full, forget my enemies. Dead to me, yeah, I proceed to go to a new dimension. Gotta mention it's inside our soul. Go inside, fuck the outside, never tell lies, show pride for belief. Gotta keep the range wide, so instead I just write another hit. Getting fried, rolling up, smoke another blunt for the good times, bad times makes for the good rhymes. So it never matters, I just learned, no I can't hide. Thank God for every second was birthed with the mind of an ancient soul who's just waiting for the next sign. I'm always watching, vision like a hawk, have 'em flocking. When I drop it, I'm talking, have 'em knocking. The knowledge that I'm dropping, I'm coming out the noggin, I'm locked in. That's the intuition, nothing wrong. Doing what you feel is right, everybody got this.
Alright, I'm back. I am back. So here we are on the last piece before I call tonight. 8 amazing new military technologies. In the light of increasing tensions in global hotspots, the U.S. military research and development is gauging more urgency. The U.S. will spend nearly $80 billion this year to create new weapons and armor and related gear. What was this? Oh, this was pretty much similar to okay, self-steering bullets. Interesting. Very interesting. Packed with tiny sensors, a 50 caliber bullet under development can change course rapidly in mid-air. So snipers can literally hit any target. Crazy. While the price is unknown, they are sure to be cheaper than the rocket-propelled missiles that they were firing sometimes, like drone missiles, orbital missiles, and things like that. DARPA, which is working on the Exacto project with the military contractor Teledyne Technologies and ammunition maker Orbital ATK, is keeping quiet on exactly how the bullets change its flight path. A competing effort from the Department of Energy, Sandia Labs, uses a laser to indicate the target, while small fins on the bullet steer it in flight. Crazy. So bullets now have wings and they're flying. Not just being shot, but bullets are being shot, but then they're also taking flight and flying to their target. Like, oh, you're off by like 2 meters. Let me help you out. Fucking what? That whole movie. What's that movie? Oh man, that movie where they could bend the bullets. Oh my goodness. These guys are bending bullets. Next up, unmanned submarine hunter. More and more countries are going to submarines. This worries America's defense officials, who are looking at one of the larger projects, the Anti-Submarine Warfare Continuous Trail Unmanned Vessel, also known as a Sea Hunter. Think of it as a water-based drone that can hunt submarines for months at a time without anyone having to change watches, or at least aboard the vessel. Equipped with sonar, radar, and other synthetic vision systems, the ACTUV will be able to move through narrow channels and shipping traffic pretty much anonymously. Raytheon is making this. Leidos is the boat itself, a prototype. So wow, we're about to see like things in the ocean that are controlling itself, no person in it, and they're just drones. Laser cannons are being also created by Boeing. Boeing and the Army are working on a truck-mounted laser that can zap incoming threats such as mortar shells or drones. This project has a catchy name, HELMD, for High Energy Defense Laser Mobile Demonstrator. Competitor Lockheed Martin is also looking for a piece of the Defense Department's ray gun business with the Athena system. One of the many benefits of the lasers that they can fire repeatedly for a minimal cost. Just the diesel to power the truck-mounted generator that provides the burst of energy. The laser concentrates downrange, which, yeah, pretty insane. This picture right here, it's like something like a helicopter going inside. I don't even know what this is. It seems like a helicopter, but then it's not. It's its own propeller. It's like these technologies are pretty wild. It had twin counter rotating propellers on this vehicle right here. Yeah, I don't know what that vehicle is. It's an insane. Doesn't really give a good description of it either. Next up, plasma protection field. So some tanks and some aircraft now have plasma protection fields where there's like a barrier of like I don't know, plasma that's being shot out, and so it'll stop certain missiles and things. It's pretty much like one of those little mini Iron Domes that Israel has, but for our vehicles. Next up and last for the night, scientists at the University of California, Irvine, are studying the camouflage in squids through a protein called reflectin, and understanding its function in wavelengths and night vision systems, and how it can be applied to the military technologies. So they're working on multiple ways to turn invisible, which makes me wonder about UFOs. Hey man, that's it for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope that you guys stay fresh, stay blessed. Peace out. Love you guys. Be blessed. Be high. Ciao.